world changes, we'll keep you up to date with the latest information. News Talk KVNU 102 FM 610 AM.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Whole Tree Care. A 23-year-old man is being bound over for trial on allegations he provided alcohol to a 14-year-old girl and raped her repeatedly earlier this year. Ernesto Alonso Barrera Zarco waived his right to a preliminary hearing where a judge would have determined whether or not prosecutors have sufficient evidence to justify the charges. Court records show Barrera Zarco appeared Thursday morning in First District Court. He was previously charged with rape, a first-degree felony, forcible sexual abuse, and furnishing alcohol to a minor. Barrera Zarco was arrested in July after Logan City Police received a report of the sexual offense. The victim claimed that she and another teenage girl arranged to meet the defendant, who agreed to provide them alcohol. After picking up the girls March 6th, Barrera and another man drove to a local convenience store where he purchased beer. They then went to a local hotel and rented a room. During a forensic interview at the Children's Justice Center, the victim explained to investigators how she had told Barrera she didn't want to do anything with him. She reportedly fell asleep and later woke up as the suspect was sexually assaulting her. The other girl told investigators that Barrera raped her 6 times. She described how the victim was crying and telling him to stop. When police interviewed him, Barrera reportedly admitted to having sex at a Logan hotel with the alleged victim in March. He claimed that he was suspicious of her age, but she told him she was 22 years old. During Thursday's hearing, Barrera Zarco entered not guilty pleas to the charges and was ordered to appear again in court September 19th. He's currently being held in jail without bond and could face up to life in prison if convicted. KVNU News Time is 5:07. KVNU weather for tonight, mostly clear, low around 50, sunny, hot upper 90s. Tomorrow, Sunday and Monday. Today it's been to 91, so a few degrees cooler than yesterday's 96. It's 91 degrees right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Logan Extermination. It's been pretty hot, so the spiders might be coming inside to beat the heat, and you need help. Let Logan Extermination take care of those unwanted pests with an interior treatment for bugs. Call 752-8450.
Man, let's talk about something serious.
I tried the pill. It didn't work.
No, I'm talking about your yard, specifically trees and shrubs. They need your attention. You can't just let them grow unruly and wild, like your beard.
Hey!
Call Hull Tree Care. They have the crew, the experience, and knowledge to trim your trees and shrubs right. Call 760-6587 and ask for their radio discount. Hull Tree Care. That's Hull Tree Care. 760-6587.
KVNU News Time is 5:08. The first Thursday of the month, KVNU's For the People program talks to the Family Place Utah during their 40th year of service to Cache Valley. Dr. Reese Nielsen, clinical director for the Family Place, said the organization's nonprofit status enables them to pursue funding that can then allow them to provide services to people who otherwise may not be able to afford it.
And that's particularly tricky on the therapy side, which I oversee, which can be really expensive. Quality therapists that do a good job, they this is their livelihood, and that kind of cost creates and there's a lot of supportive staff that go into that to make that an experience that people can benefit from. But we've been very, very fortunate due to the strength of the community and grantors that are willing to support the cause of strengthening families and protecting children.
Nielsen talked about how they structure things for those who might reach out to them for help.
We're not a fully equipped crisis program, but what we can do is our main number operates as a 24-hour hotline, so a person can get a live person anytime, and then we can, if we can't work it through on the phone in the moment. Then we look for immediate openings. We kind of fill spots with therapists with crisis sessions that they can do within a day or two. And then we can typically take it from there with connecting to places in the community for needs we can't meet.
The Family Place can always use support, volunteering of time or money. Their 24-hour caring support hotline is 435-752-8880, or go to thefamilyplaceutah.org for more information. And the Riverdale Police Department is requesting the public's help in finding a suspect accused of sex abuse. Officials with the department, with the assistance of other law enforcement agencies, executed a search warrant for a suspect Thursday afternoon. Police received reports that the suspect, 53-year-old Bryce Tyler, was involved in aggravated sex abuse of a minor. According to Assistant Chief Casey Warren, police executed a warrant to search a residence for evidence, believing Tyler was also present. Due to Tyler's criminal history, police requested the assistance of SWAT and other local law enforcement. A search of the residence was carried out. Evidence was obtained, but Tyler was not at the residence, according to Warren. Police are actively searching for him. If anyone sees him, you are asked not to approach him and call police immediately. KVNU News Time is 5:11. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Local news and the best talk. News Talk KVNU. 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
This is Mark with Roof Rescue. Most of us don't think about our roofs very often until you see shingles on the ground or water drips through your ceiling. Keep your roof in tip-top shape to protect your home, your biggest investment. Roof Rescue uses only the highest quality materials with experienced workmanship guaranteed to last. Even if you were denied by your insurance company the first time, a free reevaluation can be made. Visit roofrescueusa.com to schedule your free consultation in Cache Valley and surrounding areas. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson at Wilson Motor Company. If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, now is the time to buy during our Labor Day clearance sales event. We have reduced the prices on over 150 pre-owned vehicles with over 125 4x4 trucks and all-wheel drive vehicles. We can help you find the right vehicle. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com or drop in for a test drive at one of our 2 great locations.
Wilson Motor Company, we make car buying easy.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit managerbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Do you remember when Rat did the song for Point Break? Nobody rides for free. Anyway, and rightly so.
It was yeah.
You know what? We are not. I'll tell you. They're like, you know what we are? We are environmental. Were they environmental terrorists? Is that what they were?
Yeah. Wait, in Point Break?
Yeah. Remember in the second one, they weren't like because they were bank robbers in the first, and in the second, weren't they like? They were like, no, they were environmentalists, and they would take steal money to save Mother Earth or something. It was just one of those things where you're like, who got in the room here and was like, hey guys, what if we cast this one guy unknown with another guy that you may know and a bunch of other people you don't know?
Well, that was a trendy thing for a while. It
was a GoPro.
There's this guy, David Sirota. He's actually a political writer, but he wrote a book. I can't remember what it's called now. I'll find it. But if you Google his name, he's only written 2 books. But one was on how, what's his name, got elected in Montana. The other one was this book where he talks about pop culture, movies specifically, and how they reflect. He's writing that from a political point of view. Like, He says that his
phone is having problems.
And his phone is shouting at him.
Possessed.
He says that, like, so he talks about Ghostbusters, and he says if you look at Ghostbusters, what it reflects about the pop culture, what pop culture had to say about how people thought of the day.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
the government EPA guy is a bad guy in Ghostbusters, and then he says you go to the mid '90s, late '90s, early 2000s, start looking at how this is presented. You got all these movies where the EPA is saving people from these evil corporations poisoning their streams and their cattle.
Right.
And so, he talks about how this has evolved and changed over the years. And so it's kind of it's fascinating to me in a way, but also it's not something
that goes back to what you were talking about.
Like the chicken or the egg thing?
No, well, how long does something take to become...
to be reflected or...
in movies and art, right?
Well, and so my argument with Gen Z is they move so fast. I feel like it's going to get harder and harder to make pop culture movies that are targeted at that generation because it takes 2 years to make a movie.
Think about viral tweets. You have literally nanoseconds to come up with something, right? And remember, here's an example. Remember when this was early in Trump's presidency when he said Covfefe or whatever? He tweeted that.
C-O-V-F-E.
And no, everyone was like, what?
And it became...
but
you still see it as a hashtag sometimes, but it's usually older people.
Yeah, but you had to jump on that right then and there, right?
Yeah.
You had to ride... And
because it was gone.
And you could think it was funny 2 days later and be like, oh, I'd like to make a, and it just didn't. It wasn't the same.
It was that 24 hours.
It was. It's not even 15 minutes of fame anymore.
No, it's like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
How long's the average TikTok? 15 seconds.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, 15 to 30 seconds.
Because honestly, I think that it moves so fast, and so I'm not saying any of this is bad. I'm not doing the whole kids these days and their beeps.
Get off my lawn.
But it does make me wonder how it changes movies. How it changes. I think it's not going to change. Well, in the way music has already been changed. It's instead of albums and physical media, it's digital downloading and single songs. But that change happened a decade ago.
That was a long time ago,
and it just kind of has stayed.
It was
there.
the same thing when you had your iTunes store.
Yeah, and
it was even Napster.
That's held up through 3 generations now. But movies, maybe TV shows and streaming as well. Netflix, I see being a little more responsive to this. Maybe they'll start churning stuff out faster.
I think actually, I disagree.
You don't. You think it'll be the opposite?
I think what you're going to see, and this is just a guess, I've been wrong before. Like, I think I've been counting for all my years, and it's been 3 times. Some people would disagree with that. Just kidding. It's been a lot. It's been like 300 times. No, I just seeing like the financial state of those companies, I think that they've lived in the light for so long with no checks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I read an article today that Amazon is going to their future of streaming, it'll be there.
Yeah.
Streaming original entertainment is hinged on this Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, if it works, great.
If
not, they're just a video service.
And I think what you'll just see is you'll see projects, but it won't be like I just picture at Amazon and at Netflix, there's a lady sitting at a desk with an approved stamp, and filmmakers just coming in there like, hey, this is my show. They're like, stamp.
Make it.
Stamp.
Go ahead.
Approved, right?
Well, I mean, because Netflix doesn't have any incentive to say no. I mean, because they can just, somebody's going to like it.
But actually, think about what you did. Everything is tying in. If we had this as a Venn diagram, right, with all the circles, it would look like
It's funny we're talking about this all around a pretty low budget horror movie,
yeah.
too. But that actually makes it a perfect conversation.
But you just talked about how not the attention span, but the life cycle of something that's viral, right? And we talked about 15 minutes long, years and years and years ago to now it's 15, 30 seconds. That's the same thing with streaming. Right? And I think that's what it is you've got to shotgun blast all this stuff out. That's what they've been doing. I don't know if that's the future, but they've been shotgun blasting all this stuff out, and something sticks, something doesn't, right?
I've even evolved along with Gen Z in a way, because I used to get really hung up on this. Talk about old school. I actually at a certain point started writing a list of things that were coming out on Netflix I wanted to see. Because if I didn't have time for it that week, if I didn't get to it, I would forget. I
spend a day going through stuff.
Well, now I've evolved along with Gen Z to where, like, if I didn't get a chance to see it, it's just like,
Well,
oh well.
Like
it doesn't bother me anymore.
If I look
I like that evolution.
No, I'm the same way. And here's the thing: is again, I think the idea is blast as much stuff out there. What sticks, and then there's always that thing of like somebody. And again, this goes back to Gen Z, where they go in and they go, "Hey, have you?" And you see this on TikTok. They're like, "Have you ever heard of this really old movie called Empire Strikes Back?" You know, or there's a movie called Poltergeist, you know, or whatever, you know, and that's I'm being extreme in those examples.
No,
but it's the same concept, right?
Yeah.
And all of us olds, we're like, yeah, man. We knew about this.
What do you mean have I heard of it?
Yeah. Well, not even a movie. Like
Star Wars?
They'll be like, here's an interesting fact. Did you know that when Darth Vader told Luke that he was his father, that's not actually what he said? Yeah, everybody knows that. But, you know, we're also to the point now, though. I think I told you this last time on the show, is I work with a couple people. I'm on this phone call. We're on this Zoom meeting, and I say, and we were talking about how everybody had been really stressed and had a lot of work and stuff. And I said, yeah, I kind of feel like Lando Calrissian. I'm like, this deal's getting worse all the time. And they all just sat there, and I was like, have you guys ever seen Empire Strikes Back?
You've never seen it?
And the girl said, this is the exact quote, is that a Star Wars? And I said, I'm sorry, what?
Go see a Star Wars.
She said, is that a Star Wars? I said, have you seen Star Wars? She said, no. And then the other girl goes, yeah, those seem dumb. And I was like, you're fired.
Get out.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this. You know. Anyway, but yeah,
uncancel this one's debt.
That's I did. I sent a personal letter to
Dear
President
Joe.
Biden,
Dear
and
Joe,
I said,
except for this girl, because she said, "Is that a Star Wars?
Is that a Star Wars?"
And then said, "That seems dumb."
I think those
can
movies
we double hers?
are boring. She's volunteered to take all of the student loan debt.
So this Bodies, one of the things that interests me about this, along these exact same lines, these generational gaps, Pete Davidson, he's in a gray area. Because he's actually Saturday Night Live alumni now.
Is he 25, 26? How old is he?
I think he's mid-30s or late 30s even.
My phone doesn't want to cooperate, so I'm not going to Google it.
Hold on, I'll Google him.
You're the information guy.
Close all these Corn Kid tabs.
It's corn!
This is, let's see, why can't I find this? Pete Davidson, American comedian. I'll find it. It's coming. Slowly.
Well, let's talk about it. He was in.
I miss when the Wikipedia was your first search result.
He's the male version of Lindsay Lohan, is what I feel like. He's just.
He's 28.
Yeah. So okay.
Okay. So almost. 30.
And I don't know how old he's portraying in this. I think most of these actors and actresses in this are probably in their mid-20s in terms of like how their age is supposed to be. Like,
okay,
I think they're. I don't know.
Oh, so this isn't. They're not supposed to be high school kids.
No, they're not, and they're not.
Okay,
they're supposed to be like they're college-age kids.
I assumed
right?
high school. Sorry,
they're either recent grads or they're in college. They're also like kind of wealthy. They don't ever really say where this is at. I don't think I never got that.
I kind of like when they do that.
Interestingly enough, and I haven't been able to research this, the one actress that's in this. So talking about like your childhood actresses growing up, right? We talked about this.
Yeah.
In this Bodies. We talked about Amanda. I can't remember her last name.
What's her face? Yeah, I just had it.
We talked Amanda Stenberg. Yeah, she was like in the Hunger Games. I know there's other movies she's in. I just can't think off the top of my head. But Maria Baklova, who was in Borat, the second Borat movie, who played his daughter, she's in this, and she's really funny. But she actually says at one point in this, they're like, "What college do you go to?" And she goes, "Oh, I go to Utah State."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, shout out.
I thought that was interesting.
That's kind of cool.
They never. It ends up. You end up finding she only. Yeah. So I just typed in Bodies Utah, and it says Bodies Utah State.
Huh.
I don't
very cool.
know the. Again, I don't know the old.
Well, that's a reason to see it right there.
Anyway, but long story short, it's really funny. It's dark comedy. I felt like it was like a Gen Z like rated R Clue is what it ended up feeling like to me.
Oh, okay. That's actually a good pitch. I'd see that.
I enjoyed it. It's probably one of my. I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the year, but it's one of the better movies of the summer.
Okay. We've got. I'm keeping a list here. Top Gun Maverick was on your best of the year.
Yeah.
Elvis.
Elvis was lower. This actually probably leapfrogs.
Okay.
Elvis.
Nope and Bodies.
Yeah.
Am I missing one?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's also written by. The screenplay was written by Sarah DeLappy. I don't know who she is. I probably even said that wrong. And then the story is from I don't know. It says is written as it's Christian, and I can't pronounce her last name. Is an Armenian American writer, best known for her 2017 short story Cat Person, which I do not know what that is.
I don't know if I want to.
The director, it's a Dutch director.
Yeah, he's done TV shows before, Dutch TV shows. I looked him up.
Well, and I think it's a woman. So everybody, the creators of this are all female. But looking at the films that she's done, I'll be honest with you, none of these.
Yeah, I was trying to find the TV show, the Dutch TV show that they did.
She looks like she did.
It looked good.
Her start was with a movie called Instinct in 2019. It was her directorial debut. She looks like some acting before that. So anyway, long story short,
okay.
this is one of those ones, classic A24 movie.
I like that we have. Oh wow, we've got a break to get to here. I like that we have a couple of production companies that you can say that Blumhouse, A24. You can kind of say this is what you're getting into.
Yeah, A24 is like the Pixar of independent movies at this point.
All right, Bodies in theaters here in Logan, alongside a lot of other stuff that's already been out a week or two. To give you an idea of what your options are, but there's still a lot of good stuff in theaters too. On the other side, MoviePass is back, and that George Miller guy made a new movie, not Babe 3. It looks like a dark one again. More of the movie show right after this.
Dr. Josh Redd, chiropractic physician, explains how Red River Health and Wellness can help you.
If you have low thyroid and you're taking thyroid medication, the biggest question you should ask yourself is what's causing my low thyroid specifically? If you don't know the answer to that question, it's important to call us. At Red River, we identify triggers that will cause the low thyroid to begin with. One of the most common causes of low thyroid is a disease called Hashimoto's disease. This is an autoimmune disease that is a lot more complicated than just a primary thyroid issue. This is why people will be on thyroid hormone but still feel little to no improvement because nothing's being done to address the bigger, more complicated problem, which is Hashimoto's. If you have low thyroid or you have an autoimmune disease and you're on medication and still don't feel well, call Red River.
Schedule your appointment today at 855-55-RIVER. Red River Health and Wellness with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
Call Red River today.
Glenn Beck. Why are the people who claim climate change is an existential threat to human life building mansions on islands or on beaches, despite the alleged fears of rising sea levels? Why are they flying around the world in private jets that spew carbon dioxide if it is almost too late? Why are the social media giants scrambling to stifle speech at every turn? Why is it getting worse so fast?
The Glenn Beck Program.
Sunday afternoons from 2 to 5 on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People movie show with Andy Morgan, taking a look back at the top of summer movie season with a few weeks left. We've got a bye week. Again, summer movie season not over, but nothing really that new or new at all in theaters here in Logan this weekend. Set to change a lot next weekend. We'll have plenty to talk about, but the only, again, new-ish film in Cache Valley this weekend is Spider-Man No Way Home with bonus content, or Spider-Man No Way Home extended version, as the fans are calling it online. So what's new in this? For Spider-Man fans, I liked No Way Home. I thought the third installment, this is my favorite Spider-Man in general. Andy, you agree. This is also I think the Spider-Man with the most potential, being tied to the Marvel Universe at large, and his friendship with Tony Stark, rip. But also, it I think was just a good movie. No Way Home, the third installment. So, it's getting re-release. Why? It's kind of a complicated story. It sounds like it's 11 minutes longer, and almost all of this seems to be a gift to superfans. For example, one of the extended scenes is additional screen time for the other Spider-Mans from the other universes, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, respectively. So this has been, the marketing on this has been a few weeks coming. There hasn't really been a big trailer push, but the studio execs have been out doing interviews left and right. By the way, a couple of deleted scenes as well, which have been teased a little bit. This is a lot of people keeping this very much under wraps. But the rumor going around is that it has to do with the reveal. So Peter Parker's, for those not familiar, spoiler alert, his secret identity has been revealed to the world at the start of this movie, or the end of the last one, rather. And the Department of Damage Control didn't waste any time. And apparently there's was a deleted scene that involved a pretty funny scene from what I'm hearing, that involved Aunt May, Ned, and MJ waiting to be interrogated by the Department of Damage Control. And apparently this is hilarious. So the director wanted it re-included. In the original cut of the movie, the classmates, teachers of Peter Parker were pretty excited to find out he's Spider-Man, and they've been going to school with him the whole time. But there's also an included scene that apparently involves Peter displaying some of his Spidey powers in front of his classmates. So that gives you an idea of what's extended. But here's the part that fans, really big fans, super fans, if you will, of the Marvel Universe and the Spider-Man trilogy itself might be interested in. Apparently, so if you're not familiar with Marvel movies, there's a tradition. There's a halfway through the credits bonus scene, which is usually a setup for future Marvel movies. And then there's a post-credits scene, which is usually just directly tied to the film you just watched, and it's usually something funny. Think Tony Stark talking about shawarma after the first Avengers movie credits had completed rolling. Well, that scene in this movie has also been extended, and that's the one that they are keeping the most tight-lipped about. But yeah, the final scene, bonus scene, after all the credits have rolled in Spider-Man No Way Home, has apparently been extended by 3 minutes. I'm sorry, 2 minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see how fans react to this, if it makes a lot of money. I don't think the studio really expects it to. I think there was a planned extended version already, but rather having that go straight to digital and Blu-ray and DVD, they decided to throw it in theaters one more time on a weekend when there really wasn't a lot else mass consumption-wise. I mean, there are a few art house films and others that are out this weekend, but no big releases nationwide, so Marvel threw it out there. So Spider-Man No Way Home, the extended cut, is in theaters here in Logan, playing at both the Providence and Stadium or University theaters. You can also still see 3,000 Years of Longing by George Miller. This is Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba. Idris Elba playing a genie, or a djinn, as they call him, offering 3 wishes to Tilda Swinton with some complications, and her son gets involved somehow. And yeah, there's also Beast, action film involving I don't know if it's a haunted or possessed lion or what, but something like that. Dragon Ball Superhero, English dub version. Bodies, 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 which, again, last week Andy told us is well worth your time. That's still playing. Bullet Train with Brad Pitt, DC League of Super Pets, and Where the Crawdads Sing still here. Top Gun Maverick still here. Jurassic World Dominion still here. Minions Rise of Gru still here. So there's plenty to get out and see if you've missed any of these. If not, well, we'll be talking about what you can watch on the streaming services instead. More of the For the People movie show right after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:35. Sawyer Hemsley is the founder and COO of Crumble Cookies, and he's making big investments in his hometown of Preston, Idaho. He has been buying business properties, that is, along the town's State Street. One of the businesses he would like to bring back is the Polar Bear Drive-In. The hamburger restaurant was a mainstay in Preston for 53 years and employed loads of high school students and was also a popular hangout. The location of the new Polar Bear has not been announced yet. The previous fast food restaurant closed in 2005, and the building is no longer there. Hemsley was sad to see the State Street fast food spot close and has started the process of finding a new location. Hemsley's father, Lance Hemsley, said they met with the Larsons, the former owners of the Polar Bear, and got their blessing, bought all their trade secrets and recipes. They are currently working with the engineers and architects on the design of the building. The Preston Citizen Building, currently rented by McKinsey Law and the State Liquor Store, were some of the properties that Sawyer Hemsley purchased. He also purchased the First Security Bank building located on the corner of State Street and Oneida and has turned it into a Hemsley Ventures building. He has also purchased other Main Street properties besides the bank building. Among the businesses Hemsley purchased is the Kings, Sprouse Wrights, Gingerbread Shop, Ray's Bakery, and Sandwich Shop. Some of the buildings have been vacant for years. A police officer with the Utah Transit Authority shot a suspect near a Salt Lake City TRAX platform late Thursday night. Police responded to the incident near 900 South, 200 West around 9:30 p.m. According to a witness who spoke with KUTV at the scene, a man charged a cop with a weapon in his hand, and there was a quick burst of gunfire. The same witness said he saw two people arguing on the sidewalk, which drew the attention of nearby transit officers. One man walked down the street and down the alley, then returned with a weapon in hand, ran full speed at a cop, and gunfire erupted. The shooting remains under investigation. The extent of injuries has not been released. An officer-involved critical incident protocol team will investigate the shooting. And a wildfire closed I-84 in both directions Thursday afternoon near the Idaho-Oregon border, causing traffic backups for miles. Oregon Department of Transportation officials said the interstate's eastbound lanes were closed 6 miles east of Pendleton and into Ontario, and the westbound lanes were closed between Ontario and Baker City. The westbound lanes reopened around 5:15 p.m. East lanes were reopened around 7:30 p.m. KVNU weather is brought to you by the Duct Hunter. Clothes dryer vents can get clogged with lint. Birds can even build nests in them. So let the Duct Hunter clean them out for you. Call 770-4813. Mostly clear tonight and overnight low around 50, and then sunny, hot upper 90s tomorrow. Upper 90s with us Sunday and Monday. You can always get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
Weather changes are tough on your transmission. As we move to colder winter weather, AMCO Transmission invites you to bring your vehicle in for preventative maintenance before the snow flies. Have a diesel pickup, Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke? AMCO in Logan is your transmission specialist, and they promise to get you in quickly. For over 50 years, AMCO Total Car Care has been experts in repair for transmissions, brakes, tune-ups, and more. Find your local AMCO at 75 West, 2000 North. Call 752-1940.
Your landscape should be a place to relax, entertain, and spend family time. Canyon Landscaping designs and installs livable landscapes that define space in new or existing yards. Hardscapes with retaining walls, paver and stone patios, and walkways each create privacy, interest, and purpose, plus fire pits and sitting walls to add value to any yard. Go to canyonlandscaping.com for more details, then call to schedule your free consultation. Call 752-3838 or go to canyonlandscaping.com. Canyon Landscaping. Look for the leaf.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the For the People movie show. With Andy Morgan joining me here in just a couple of minutes. We'll be talking Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I don't know why it's called that. I don't know if Andy can tell us why it's called that without spoiling anything. All I know is this is a horror movie that people I normally trust, like Andy, have said is hilarious and good and worth seeing. So Andy's review coming up during the show today. Also in theaters, George Miller. If you're not familiar, well, George Miller has got a unique reputation as a filmmaker because he's all over the place, I think. But when he I mean, he's so this is a man that's known for Babe. Babe Pig in the City, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Happy Feet 1 and 2. Don't leave 2 out. And, of course, the really, really good, if you've never seen it, you should see it, Mad Max Fury Road. So he's, I mean, I don't know how you go from Babe to Mad Max, but George Miller did. Anyway, he's got a new one. It's called 3,000 Years of Longing. It is in theaters here in Logan. I don't know diddly about this one other than the synopsis. And the synopsis is that an academic, Tilda Swinton, Athlia Binney, I guess, is her character's name, content with life and a creature of reason. While in Istanbul attending a conference, she happens to encounter a djinn, spelled Djinn, Idris Elba, who offers her 3 wishes. This is like a genie, but with ill motives, not a happy genie like the Disney Robin Williams one, and offers her 3 wishes in exchange for his freedom, and this presents a conundrum for her. First off, she thinks he's full of it, as anyone would, right? Like if Idris Elba walked up to you, Andy, and said, I'll grant you 3 wishes, you're probably going to be like, nah, you can't do that. But maybe,
I don't know,
so
man.
you make the wishes just in case, right?
I'm super gullible. I really am. This is something we should talk about. I go to see movies with people. I am. I've never fallen for anything that's like, I've never given any money to a Nigerian prince. I've never given any money to those people that call and are like, yeah, this is Sergeant whatever from the New York Department of, Internal IRS. And something you're like, what? I don't think that's a thing. I've never done that. So I am gullible. But when it comes to entertainment, I think I get so drawn in and raptured by what I'm watching that a lot of times so what I do is I don't really sit there and try to figure out what's going to happen in movies. I let it unfold. So, for instance, like I've seen movies and people will be like, "Oh yeah, I figured it out midway through," and I'm like, "Really? Am I dumb?" Like,
I think it's
how'd you know that?
You're busy enjoying it, and so because when you're trying to figure it out, you're removing yourself from the experience somewhat.
Well, this will play into what we're going to talk about, with by the way, but bodies. But what's really funny about that is I cannot. 2 things crossed my path at the same time with this. One was I saw Bodies, and then I saw this America's Got Talent which I've never watched that show. I've never watched that show from start to finish. I see clips and I think, oh, well, that's good enough for me. That's about all the Howie Mandel I can take.
Small doses.
Or Simon Cowell. I can't believe. Also, can we just talk about? Doses. No offense, I'm not trying to hair shame Simon Cowell, but he may have. It's better now, but you go back to the American Idol days. That guy had the worst haircut. Like he was like it was like somebody said, "Do you want to look like Duke from G.I. Joe that led the Joes?" And he was like, "Yeah, give me that cut." And also make it look like it's a plastic Barbie head.
Yeah.
No, but going back, it's this old grandpa. It's like 82 singing. Let the bodies hit the floor, and I just can't.
I heard about this.
When I literally stepped out of my car today at the station, honestly, in my head, I went, "Let the bodies." Hit the floor.
So you're actually
it's in my head.
Yeah.
If it's not that, right? Then I have to pull out my saber and fend off. It's corn or whatever that song is on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that. And if it's not that...
Where does that come from? I caught some of those this week.
If it's not that, then it's Running Up the Hill by Kate Bush, which I wish would go back to the 80s and stay buried.
Yeah.
Someone's like, you know what, man? That's a really bad attitude. You know, that song came out, yay, Stranger Things. No. You know what?
Yeah.
The Duffer Brothers, they owe me. I can't get that. There's so many cringe videos on TikTok.
Speaking of TikTok and its corn. And
that's this kid.
Yeah, the corn kid. That's what they're calling him, the corn kid.
And then they put a mix to it, like a song mix.
So this is one of my favorite things that happens these days, and I don't know where this goes.
I almost spit out my drink.
I don't know where this goes. I don't know if this has existed with previous generations. I don't know. It feels new to me.
Yeah.
We didn't see this with millennials. I don't think it happened with my generation, although. People, so I always tell people I'm Gen X, and then everybody always points out, "Nah, you're an old millennial." But I think Gen X is cooler, so I say Gen X because they're cynical, and everybody wanted to be the.
I'm a boomer. I don't know
but
if you're
a boomer. No, this is.
I think my kids think that.
So Generation Z exists in a different world,
sure,
and the millennials and the Gen Xers and the boomers are they try so hard to be. To step into that world because these are people now graduating college, starting careers and jobs. The market is all pointed towards them.
It is,
and so naturally that leads to people wanting to. So an online media organization, for example, like Bloomberg. You can see where I'm going with this. Would be all about making sure Gen Z knows they exist, right? And so, but the way they try to do that is sometimes hilarious. And so this was the headline. So Corn Kid's really popular on TikTok. I guarantee no one at Bloomberg knows why or even gets it.
You're going to have to bring us back to the Corn song, right?
Yeah. But so this is the headline. Look out, Corn Kid. The future of your favorite crop is far from corntastic. Actual Bloomberg News headline today. While the commodities cachet is growing online, real world supplies have been hit by war and extreme weather. It's an article about supply chains, which is interesting to me at my age. But they're trying to tie it to this TikTok Corn Kid trend.
This kid is raking in the bucks on Cameo right now.
And I guarantee not a single Gen Z person saw that headline and went, well, I'm clicking on that. They went back to TikTok and watched more Corn Kid videos. It's just funny to me to see Bloomberg try.
No,
with that headline.
This is so interesting. I'm so glad you brought this up because this actually plays in again to bodies, bodies, bodies.
What do you like about corn?
It's cold. A good corn that knocks. It has the juice.
It's corn.
It's corn. It's some kid at a county fair, and somebody asked him, "What do you like about corn?" And he says, "It's corn." It's corn. Like it's a stupid
It's
question.
got the juice. It's got the nubs with the juice.
It's so funny.
And when I tried it with butter, my life was changed. That's the other part. I'm gonna during the break.
I really like cold.
What do you like about corn?
It's cold.
You
That's
can
the
dance.
part. I love
It's
that.
corn.
And he says it like the guy asking the question is an absolute moron.
I'm going to show you probably one of the funniest TikToks I've ever seen, and that has to do with this. It's corn stuff during the break. But let me say this. I'm glad you brought this up because I was talking about this after I saw Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I kept thinking, like,
You mean like generational
yeah,
gaps?
like
or-
well, not generational gaps, but I would there's a lot of social media and this modern day technology. This modern day technology.
Kids and their bells and their whistles
in this movie.
Twinkly things.
The phones. It's got the phones.
The beeping and the booping.
Beep bop boop. Anyway, a lot of and obviously this movie is. I can't decide if it's making. It's making light of itself. It's almost like pointing the finger back and going, "Guys, some of this stuff is super corny, right?" Like,
yeah.
They use a lot of buzzwords that you hear, like gaslighting and. Anyway,
things that are
body dysmorphia, just a lot of stuff. Anyway, things that you and I didn't hear when we were,
but are
in our early
commonly
20s.
used terms right now.
Yeah,
on social media.
And I'm not passing judgment on any of those. It's this is really a movie that's probably the age range of probably 18 to 25.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, maybe. Yeah, probably. Anyway, so here's the funny thing: is I kept thinking about. That it feels like at some point we turned into this society, and I think the movie Nope that you and I talked about several weeks ago is in the same way. Is it's not about like, well, what kind of career can I get to get ahead in life and and climb the ladder or whatever. It's like, what can I do to be viral? What can I do? It's almost like it's an exploitive society we live in, and that's what people are looking for, right? They're looking for. I mean, look at this kid. Like I just said, this kid's on Cameo today, raking in the bucks.
Yeah, just
a shoe company that I buy shoes from used this kid to advertise a shoe that had a corn colorway.
By the way, he'll make a special video for you for $150.
Yeah, I know.
More power to you, kid. I'm not criticizing.
No, I agree.
But
Good for this kid, and I think that's why an app like TikTok or Twitter or. Probably not. Sorry, Mark Zuckerberg, not Facebook. That's just for fighting with your family now.
Yeah, poor Facebook. Rapid decline.
But
except not in membership. We'll talk about that some other day.
Well, so you got to go somewhere.
Everybody's still there.
Yeah,
but
I used to.
But no one's using it.
Spend
anymore.
a lot of time scrolling through Facebook, and I don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't. Have
I
the
spent
apps
most
on
of
my
my
phone.
time. If you looked at my phone, it would probably be Twitter, TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah.
And Instagram really truly is it's like almost a device where I spread out kind of what I'm wanting to post. It's
Instagram's for my family. Twitter's for my interests, politics and news, and TikTok too. I've never posted and probably never will post a thing on TikTok, but I am I scorn the naysayers.
I have some TikToks.
The thing is, and I'm not judging people who do. I'm just saying I'm not inspired to.
No, you don't have to.
But I have been studying Gen Z now for a couple of years on TikTok, and I'm sorry, anybody that says they're worried about this generation what they've been up against.
Oh, sure,
you would expect to worry about them. These are kids who know how to escape schools in the face of an AR-15. Like, they know the plan.
Yeah. They've been through two recessions.
They
haven't really known a war.
Some weird politics.
That's right. They've been through two controversial elections, right?
Yeah. Nazis are feeling emboldened in parts of the country. I mean, they've been through some stuff, and they're okay.
Yeah. And they're clever. Most of them.
Funny.
There's a dark side to it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's these prankster, like, I watched this video where this guy was dunking over a Walmart worker on a Walmart hoop.
Yeah.
And that wasn't funny.
No, I thought that was
just
kind of
a jerk thing.
There's some mean stuff. And just like you'd see in any generation, I think there's always someone that just doesn't have common sense.
And then the older person, because it's almost always an older person, gets upset. And then they're like, okay, Karen.
Yeah.
Okay, Chad.
Karen
or Kevin
Chad.
or whatever.
I don't think it's funny. Karen stuck, but it vacillates between
probably
Chad and Kevin.
Every guy is
a Chad or a Kevin.
So it's just like, hey, Andy, get out of here, Andy, movie boy.
So is this? So you're saying with this movie with Bodies, you're saying that is that. So I'm poking fun at Bloomberg, saying they're trying so hard to capture the Gen Z audience because they realize this is their future reader, audience, and they're trying to by tying TikTok. But so here's the challenge, though, that back to movies, because so think about how long it takes a movie to get made.
I was talking about this exact same thing because there's a movie, an abortion movie that hits theaters this fall, and I thought, but they made that 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
It was before Roe versus Wade.
And so that's what. So this corn kid thing, Bloomberg here in this article trying to get Gen Z eyeballs on their online article, so they tie it to this corn kid thing, and it's a report on supply chains. But they're using corn as an example, so they can tie it to this TikTok trend. By the time this article was published, that trend is over.
Yeah,
TikTok moves in days.
Well,
like a couple of days, and the trends. Well, I don't know. Some of them hang on, I guess, but a lot of them are gone in a couple of days.
Besides Bill Walter,
so how do you make movies for
where
that
do you
crowd?
get your news?
Yeah,
because I know Bill calls you all day.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Hello, Jason." I can't do his voice because it's so magical. There he is, and
he's a plugged-in guy.
Yeah, I know. He's like your human news source. Where do you get your news outside of that?
How do you start a 2-year process for a generation that evolves and changes that fast?
I think some of it's just luck. I really do.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's kind of where I landed, so fair enough. You're listening to the For the People movie show, having kind of a broad conversation centered around a film here in Logan, comedy, thriller, horror movie kind of thing called Bodies. And we'll talk more about it right after this here on the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan, which continues.
Why do people ride bulls? Probably for all the wrong reasons. Come witness the herd at the Wellsville Stampede Rocky Mountain Pro Rodeo this Friday and Saturday, 7:30 at the Wellsville Arena. Friday night, it's just $30 a carload. Friday or Saturday, it's just $5 a person, 5 and older. Features all the events rodeo fans love. Team roping, tie-down roping, barrel racing, and, of course, bronc and bull riding. The Wellsville Stampede Rocky Mountain Pro Rodeo this Friday and Saturday, September 2nd and 3rd, 7:30 in Wellsville.
When it comes to your health and deadly diseases, your body doesn't always give warning signs. You won't see a big, bright alert button above your head or hear some upbeat notification jingle when something's not right. Fortunately, there's something you can do to protect yourself and stay healthy now and into the future. Schedule your health screenings and immunizations to stay up to date on your well-being. Visit uptodate.utah.gov to learn more.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in today. That is our time here on For the People for this week. A long weekend, so we won't be back with you until Tuesday. But man, Tuesday's show, you don't want to miss. The Great Salt Lake and saving it is, I don't think you'd find a person out there that says, who cares? It's going to cost a lot of taxpayer money. It's going to cost a lot of time and research and thought to do it right. We're going to be leaning hard on researchers from USU and U of U and others who have been actually warning legislators about this for years, but are finally getting listened to. It's a good thing, really. I mean, who would argue? That said, there is some concern out there from water districts, including our own here in Cache Valley, that if things aren't done carefully, you could accidentally shortchange upstream or surrounding areas with state policy meant to save the Great Salt Lake. On Tuesday's show, we'll be talking to some of those who are expressing these concerns. Water managers retired, current members of water districts all around northern Utah say they're hesitant. They're They want to watch this carefully, and they hope the public does as well. What their concerns are and more, we'll find out on Tuesday's KVNU's For the People. That's our time for this week. Enjoy your long weekend. Be careful out there. Please, let's not get any wildfires going. Be smart. Camp safe. Enjoy the weather. Stay cool. Hydrate. Dress light. We'll see you Tuesday here on For the People. Dave Ramsey is next here on KVNU Logan.
KVNU